Okay, so this is Chapter 4, SAM Project 1A. I've got both my downloaded files here. As always, make sure that you rename this Excel file _2 before you submit it, and save it before we start. So, this project is about Walter Zhang, who works in operations and looking to replace an aging fleet of taxis. And we want to work on this workbook to help him explore funding and create a formatted worksheet for him so that he's able to read and use it easily. Okay, so let's get started here. Step 1, it says Unhide the Loan Scenarios Worksheet. So again, this whole thing is a workbook, and these are the worksheets. So in order to unhide a worksheet, we just right-click on one of these worksheet tabs, check Unhide, and double-click on this or click OK, and here we go. Number 2, on the Loan Scenarios Worksheet, fill the range B15 to B27 with a number series based on the values of B12 to B14. So in order to do this, we want to highlight all three of these. And what's going to happen is as we use the fill handle, it's going to increase by 0.25% all the way down to B27. Okay? If we select just one and use the fill handle, it gives us all the same number. But by choosing all three, or we could choose 2, it increases and follows the numbering convention that's in the selection that we made. Alright, so in cell D12, it says we are going to use the payment function. And we're going to calculate monthly payments from D4, D6, and C12. And it says, hint, enter a negative sign in front of the payment function to display the monthly payment as a positive number. So that means that we're going to start our function by using equal, and then put negative PMT, okay, and open our parentheses. Now, in this case, our rate is going to be the amount of money. That's our first argument. Our second argument is the number of periods, which is right here. And then our third argument is going to be our interest, our monthly interest rate. Okay? Now, it says that the absolute cell references for the term and the loan amount. So, to make these absolute, I just click on the D4, hit my F4 key, and do the same for D6. Okay? And then I can close my parentheses and hit enter. And we see that we get $1,250 as a payment based off of 0.25%. Okay? Now, one of the things that we now know is that as we fill this, the only thing that's going to change is the monthly rate, because it's got an absolute cell reference for the loan amount and the number of periods. Okay? So I'm going to fill, as I'm told, all the way to B27, and you can see that we get our numbers already automatically filled in here. Okay. Now it says, enter a formula in E12 using the payment function to calculate the monthly payment on a loan for E4, E6, C12. So it's the same thing based off of the moderate. Okay, so again, we're equal negative PMT and open parentheses. All right, we have this, which we want to make absolute. I just hit F4 after clicking on it, comma to get to the next argument. Click there, F4. Next argument is going to be the rate. Close, hit enter, and then drop it down. There we go. Alright, so that was 4, so it's 5 I can only assume is going to be for conservative. So let's do this again, equals negative, PMT, open parentheses, okay. We want this to be absolute, so we click F4. If you're having trouble with your F4 and you're on a laptop, you may have to manually put in the $signs before the F and before the 4. Or you have to use Alt or Control plus F4 in order to get that to work. what we want the number of periods, absolute, and then our interest rate, close parentheses, hit enter, and I'm going to fill this all the way down. Okay? Now we're on to 6. Center the contents of B11 to F11. Okay, so that's B11 to F11. And I'm going to come up in my alignment tab and click on center. It says apply bold formatting to D3 to F3. So D3 to F3, and I'm going to click on bold in the font area. I can also use Control B. Alright, now it says apply the following borders to the ranges specified below. Apply an outside border to B10 to F27. So we have B10 to F27, and in our font sections we have our border button. We're going to click on that, and it says outside border, so we're going to click on outside border. If I click out here, we can see we put a border. Now it says apply a bottom border to B11 F11. So that's right here, B11 to F11. I again go back up to my border, and it says we're adding a bottom border, which is the top one. Okay, and then it says apply a left border to D12 to D27. So D12 to D27, and then come over here and choose left border. So what this has done is it's created lines in between just to demark everything that's happening here, okay? Now it says format D12 to F27 to be center aligned. Oh, I did that in the last step, so I apologize. I did the whole thing. We'll format the range to display 0 decimals. So right now it shows 2. So one of the things we're going to do is come up under number. We're not going to increase but decrease by 2. Now we're all set. Okay, so it says create a conditional formatting rule to highlight cells in C12 to C27. So let's grab C12 to C27, whose value is equal to cell D8. So D8 is 0.42. And apply the default light red fill with dark red text. Okay. So to format cells, we go to conditional formatting, our button up here in the styles, okay? And it says we wanted to highlight cells, which is our top choice here in the menu. And equal to, so we'll go to equal to. And I can click on this, okay, which is going to give me the absolute reference of that number, or I could enter the number if I wanted to, but I just want to, it says D8, so I clicked on D8, right? Click OK, and you can see that it's highlighted where this meets this, which means that if we look at this logically, based off of this and in an aggressive any of these scenarios, that these are the payments that we can expect depending on whether we want a conservative, moderate, or aggressive strategy. Okay? So, now it says lock the cells in range D12 to F27. So D12 to F27. Okay? So there's a few ways to do this. You can come up here to format and format cells. Okay. You can see that there's a protection button which says locked. You can do that. You can come up to the format and click on the lock cell. Okay, you can see what this looks like right now. It's just a standard little lock. If I click lock cell, you can see that the little green arrows went away in the corner, but it doesn't look any different. But if I come back up here, we can see that this looks completely different. It's filled in, and it's got a box around it, meaning that they're locked. Okay. If I were to go to the format cells, you can see that the box has been checked for locked under the protection. All right. Okay, so it says select the non-adjacent ranges D4 to F4. Okay, so if we got D4 to F4, and D7 to F7. Now, to select multiple ranges, I'm just going to hold down the Control key and grab D7 to F7. Okay? And it says unlock the cells in those ranges. So again, we can come up to Format. You see that it says locked. If I click on this and then come back and check, you can see it's unlocked. Then it says protect the worksheet. You do not need to include a password. So we're going to protect this. In order to do that, we're going to come to our View tab. Review tab. And there's a little button up here in the Protect that says Protect Worksheet. Okay? So it says Protect Worksheet, not the workbook. The book would be the whole thing. We're just protecting the sheet. We click on that. It shows you that you're going to be able to select lock cells and select unlock cells, but you can't do anything else. We're going to click OK because we don't want a password. Okay? To unprotect it, we would click on this. Click on Protect. If you want a password, you enter a password here, and then it will ask you to re-enter it, and then you'll have a password. But we're just protecting the sheet. Okay, number 14. Switch to the Saving Scenarios worksheet and enter a formula in cell D7 using the FV function. So we're going to our Saving Scenario worksheet. All right. And it says we're going to cell D7, which is right here. And we're using the FV function. And again, it says enter a negative sign in front of the FV function to display the accrued saving as a positive number. All right, so we're going to go equals negative FV, open parentheses. And it says that we are going to D4 to D6. Okay. So one of the things we need to be very cognizant of right here is that because of this scenario, we have the rate, the number of payments, the number of periods, okay, and then the payment. So in this case, the rate is going to be right here. To move to the next argument, we hit our comma, which it shows us to hit. Then we go to number of periods, comma, and then hit our payment. Now we don't have to close the parentheses. We can just hit enter. And we get our answer, okay? So it says enter a formula in E7 using the same function. Enter a negative to make sure that it's a positive number. So instead of entering all this data again, I can just simply use the fill handle and move it across. And it's going to do the same thing because this says E5, E6, E5, E4. This says F6, F5, F4, which is the same as this. So we don't need to retype it all. But the one thing we do notice is that our outside border for this is gone. And why is that? Well, it's because we actually copied all of the cells across. So let me back up and show you what you should do here. In this scenario, we would just want to copy the function. We can go to Home, click on the copy, and then I'll select these two and paste just using the function. Okay, either one of these will work. It's formulas and number formatting is fine. Okay, but what it does is it keeps the formatting of the boxes and everything else the same. Whereas when you use the fill handle to fill it in, it copies the formatting as well as all of the elements around the cell, not just the function itself. Okay? All right, so that means that we are down to number 17. Italicize the text in C7 to F7. So if we go C7 to F7, I'm just going to click on the italics, or I can use Control I. Create names for the following cells as described in Table 1 on the following page. So it shows right here cell D7. So if I click on cell D7, it's telling me to add a name, aggressive savings, okay? So to change the name of this cell, we can come over here and click on, is it format? Let me just show you the easy way to do it. This little drop down is a cell name right here. Okay, so we're just going to type in aggressive Let's spell it correctly. No space, okay? So aggressive savings, no space. I'm just going to hit enter. Oh, and you can see that it's here. It's now named aggressive savings instead of D7. So we do the same for E7. We just click in here and moderate. You can use an underscore if you want. Hit enter to make it stay. So if you wanted to name this conservative underscore savings, you could do that. You just can't have any open spaces, okay? But for this, we are using exactly what they're asking for so that it grades correctly. There we go. Now it says, apply the style 40% accent 5 to B10 to F10. Alright, so let's grab B10 to F10. And then we're going to come back to our cell styles. It says accent 5. Oh, I'm sorry, I think it says 40%. So with this, it was hidden over there. 40% accent 5. Alright. And it says apply conditional formatting to highlight cells from D13 to F27. So let's grab those first. D13 to F27. So we got those. With a value between 250 and 275,000. So we know we want conditional formatting highlight cells because it told us that. And then it says between, so we're going to choose between. Now it populates values for us. What we want to do is add in the values they told us, 250,000 and 275,000. Okay? And then it says light red fill with dark red text. Well, that's what we have because there is a drop down. Click OK. There we go. It's highlighted 3 cells that meet that criteria. Now it says navigate to the capital plan worksheet. So we're going to come over to here. And using the custom cell names, enter a formula in cell C11 that adds the value of the saving cell to the value in the loan cell. It says do not use the sum function. Okay? So we're looking at cell C11, which is right here. And it says we're going to, using custom cell names. Remember how we just renamed a cell? Well, if we equal and type in savings, notice how it selected this cell because this cell is named savings. Okay? And then it said we were going to add it, so hit plus, to the loan, which is the cell, loan, and hit enter. It gives us our number. Because this cell up here is named savings, and this is named loan. So that's a very easy way for you to get any of the answers that you're looking for. So if you rename a cell somewhere down the road, you can actually use it to, instead of going to find the cell, you can just type in the name of the cell and use it in an equation or a formula. Alright, so it says name the cells C4 to C6 using the text columns directly to the left. So C4. Okay, so that means that up here it's going to be amount, no spaces, saved monthly. Hit enter. We're doing C4 to C6, so I'm going to come down here and it's now interest earned annually. Hit enter for it to stay. And then click here and I'm going to type term. Now, I can't enter a parenthesis, so in this case I'm going to use underscore years. Okay. Hit enter, and it saves that. So now they're all named something, except for this one at the moment. It says, name the range B2 to C11 capital plan. So, B2 to C11. Okay, same thing as we did before. What we're doing is taking this whole thing and naming it up here. Capital plan. No spaces. hit enter, and we're done. So if we look at all this, this is exactly how our sheet should look. And as you can see, our numbers are correct. All right. I hope you had a good time following along, and good luck this week.